Alright, what's going on, everybody? I just got done moving a bunch of solar panels around. Let's see. This thing's not really particularly accurate. A lot of times it reads wrong, but anyway. It was probably about 102 maybe when I was out there. It's like you sweat really bad afterwards, and for quite a while after, it's sort of weird. I remember going down to Santan Solar, and it was like 117 degrees in the parking lot. Hold on a second. So it was like 117 in the parking lot, and I'm just like strapping down these solar panels in the back of the truck. I wasn't really out there for that long, and I've done that a couple of times down there, and you sweat for like 45 minutes in the truck afterwards, with the air conditioner on, driving down the freeway. It's really weird. We always get all these people that say, "Oh, it's not bad. It's just a dry heat," and they're usually like people that aren't from here, and they move here and they just hear everybody else say it and they just parrot it and say it. And then these same people, they don't ever go out of their house during the middle of the day and do anything. They sit in their air-conditioned house, they get in their air-conditioned car, and they get in the air-conditioned Walmart, and they do their shopping, and they go home. And honestly, like, there's no way to live. It's really ridiculous. And we were talking about this the other day. It's just like, it's stupid. It's too damn hot to do anything. And then you got the monsoon season comes in, so you still end up with the mosquitoes. You still end up with the high humidity, and it just kind of like nasty. I like it when it's never raining. I don't like the rain. I don't like the humidity. Unfortunately, it rains quite a bit, actually, here. When the monsoons come through, and it gets really nasty. But anyway, so I just got done doing that, and we're just like trying to keep the power bill down. And I mean, I got thousands of dollars in solar crap and horrible batteries. So what I do is I charge a 24 volt 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery on a completely different system, on a completely different inverter, and then I run that at night. And but during the day, I've just got like a group of lead acid batteries, and I don't know how many panels. But we tried an experiment. I moved like 4 panels to the back wall where it would pick up the morning sun. And what I found out was at about 2:30, they were shaded already. So I moved them back to where they were in the middle of the day. Usually what I do is I have the grid plugged into the all-in-one inverter. And if like clouds come through and the solar dips, then everything doesn't shut off, because I don't have, the batteries are terrible, and I don't have $500, $600, $700 or a couple of grand to dump on batteries right now. So I have to make do with what I got, which is a bunch of crappy Walmart deep cycle batteries, and I think they're group 24s or something. Anyway, so they just do nothing. They're terrible. But you can't run the solar without something, so they do make all-in-one inverters that can run batteryless. And essentially that's kind of what I'm doing, because these batteries have like 0 storage capacity, and they can't handle any kind of load, and they don't store anything, so they're just junk. So they sit there as a kind of capacitor filter to allow the system to work. So if you don't have it plugged in, If you're not drawing a lot of power, it won't be a big deal. But you know, if you're running a couple air conditioners, it definitely gets bad. So I've been fiddling with that, and let's see if I can. Let me look this up real quick. So what I have is a MPP Solar, and they have like different ones. They'd probably come out with some new ones too. There's a guy in Nevada that, like a British guy or Australian guy, he sells a lot of stuff. But a lot of this stuff is like grossly overpriced for what it is. 30, 24, 30, 24. So 30, 24, I don't know. It's going to be probably similar to what I have. So usually if you get two of these, you can do 240 volt split phase. Built-in parallel kit, that's cool. I have a what is it? 2424. It's not 3 kilowatt, it's 2.4, but it's 24 volt, and it looks very similar to that. And so it sits here. So like right now, my output is 1.2 kilowatts, just out of this, but we have 40 amp charge controllers down here too. Then we have that one over there. But anyway, it's a mess, but it's experimental. So I always kind of hate showing the solar stuff that I have, because you get all these like perfectionist people that are so judgmental, and they're like, oh, it looks terrible, blah 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 blah. It's like, okay. So anyway, these are usually, I don't know, about $700 to $800. I don't know how much this one would be. This is new. I was trying to find and see if I could find like the one I have. So mine looks very similar to that on the bottom. And then you would, you know, hook these up. I guess you could do 3-phase. That's kind of cool. But let's see. Where the hell? I just want to go back. My damn thing here is just like stopping everything. I was so tired of pop-ups and all kinds of goofy crap. Alright. Well, we're going to back out of this page because their website is no good for anything. So watch 24/7. That's going to be Ian, and he's the guy I was just talking about. So he's probably the best one to buy from, because if you buy from him and you have problems, he's local. And if you buy from China and you have problems, you're screwed. You cannot afford to send one of these back. 3 kilowatt, 48 volt. So if I had just to do all over again, I would have went 48 volt. And I still can, but you know, then I get new inverters, and you know, my charge controllers aren't capable of 48. They're only capable of 12 and 24. But so the ones that I like are like these, and some of these are low frequency. They have a big transformer in them. So this is 8 kilowatt solar input, 6 kilowatt split phase hybrid. So these are that's an open box one. I wouldn't buy an open box one. It means somebody returned it, there was something wrong with it, and he fixed it. Here's another one that's quite popular, the yellow one. Yeah, see, refurbished, used. It's like, no, I'm not paying that much for something that's used. Ain't happening. This one's expensive. Refurbished, used. Is that all he has? What in the hell? I actually have an affiliate account with them. And you know what? I don't post any links. Because it's just not worth it to me. I wonder if they don't sell the one. What the hell? So that's pretty interesting. He doesn't even have them anymore. All they have is these other ones. I wonder if he just doesn't want to carry them anymore. So the other one is the LV like 6448 or something like that. I don't know. There's another one. They also have ones that run well pumps, and so those don't actually need batteries. Those are pretty cool. Maybe he's just switched over to well, I don't know what the hell these are. NHX Hybrid Series, a 5 kilowatt split phase outdoor rated grid interactive PV inputs up to 500 volts and much more. They're big money. We don't even bother looking at Solarc. The Grow Watt ones are okay. The people have had a lot of problems with them too. Looks like his prices are all over the place. So I don't know where you can even get those anymore. So in my opinion, the best resource for anything is Santan Solar. Hey, what's this? Let's click on this. Alright, this looks like what are these sold by Signature Solar? Oh, that's nice. So the EG4 6000 XP 48 volt 120 240 volt all-in-one inverter. See, this is what I've never liked about the other ones. It's like, well, you need to have 2 inverters so they're versatile, but like you end up having to like string a whole bunch of them together to do anything. So one of the things they don't really tell you about solar is like it takes a lot of panels to make enough to run your house. Most people that have a solar installation on their house, they don't make enough power to run their house. You know, they make enough power to offset their bill. So what, you know, if you're going to do solar, you want to do a setup that has well over 200% of what you need. I mean, you're just you know, asking for trouble trying to build a system that you think might work. So Santan has deals every once in a while. You can get used panels. The problem with the used panels is like mine are all mostly Trina 240 watt panels. They're polycrystalline. They're bluish, not black. But I do have some LG panels. There's 12 kilowatt EG4. I don't know what this one is. KPV. Well, okay. I don't know why they're calling it KPV. $4,000, $5,000. I mean, you know, a lot of money for that. So if you're off grid, and you know, I think that yeah, you need somewhere around 12 to 18 kilowatts on an inverter. 6,000. A lot of people will run like 2 6,000s, but you know it's going to add up really fast. I mean, you get 2 of these, and you're, you know, basically $3,000. So this one here. One thing that you can do is you always find you're not really going to beat the system by buying 2 of these instead of 1 of these, but you have a little redundancy protection by buying 2 of these and combining them, then using a single unit. If this single unit goes down, you're completely screwed. But if you have 2 of these and 1 of them goes down, then you're okay still. You're going to have a little bit. So I have run these inverters, and they're okay. They're wired backwards. It's really weird. They wired them backwards. I had the 24 volt 3000 watt one, and they weren't $350 back then. They were, well, yeah, actually, I think maybe they were. The Solarcs are really good. People love them. And then there's all these other crappy ones like Solar Edge that require all kinds of proprietary junk, and they're basically grid tie. Victron, what can I say about Victron? I don't know. They're just really expensive. Anyway, it looks like these guys are not offering any other real options either. Sometimes they have other ones. So the one that I would personally recommend would be the Sun Gold, but I don't know if they have that anymore. Also, really the big thing now is micro inverters, like these that go on each panel and put out 240 volts, I think. Maybe some of them are 120. And they go back down to the panel and they just feed right into the panel. Now, they won't produce electricity unless they detect grid. So when you're doing an installation, this is a lot simpler of a system. They have an extra panel for the Enphase. I've done a couple of these installs. Anyway, so the Enphase, these all like tie together, and you run your Romex out of all of these things. They got like piggyback cables, and so they're all just I don't know. I can't explain how they're all wired up. But anyway, one goes to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. So, and then at the end you got one deal. So they're all in parallel with each other. And so what that means is that if one of them isn't working, you're probably not really going to know. Anyway. Now, Enphase has lots of other stuff. There's other companies that do that. These are the charge controllers. I got most of mine from them. The larger ones, like the 100 amp and the 80 amp, and I think maybe there's a 60, they're capable of 48 volts. But the 20, the 30, and the 40s, the 40 are not capable of anything other than 12 and 24. Here is a 60. Now, the way that I've got my stuff set up, I don't usually exceed or even come close to the 40 amps because, first of all, I'm running 10 gauge PV wire, which really, in my opinion, I don't want to be more than 30 amps on. But these will do, 40 amps. Yeah, no problem. They start to get kind of warm. I don't really care for the connections on them. They're kind of, they use these weird screws that, I mean, they look normal, but I don't know, I don't care for them. So I think that was this the 60 that I clicked on? The 60 is going to be a little different, maybe? No. When you get into the other ones, see, I think there's a cover here that comes off, and I'm not sure why they're not showing it. Nope. Okay, so let me go to one of the other ones. The 100. So they don't show you this, but you gotta take this cover off, and then you have like bigger lugs. And this thing's actually pretty massive. And you can see kind of where it goes through there. This one here, it has up to two gauge. Um, so if you're at 48 volts, you can do 5,000 watts out of one of these. If you're at 12 volts, then you're really at a disadvantage, and you do 1.2 kilowatt. And 24 volt, you can do 2,500 watts. So on a 40 amp charge controller, you can do about 500 at 12 volts and about 1,000 at 24. So this is why it's really kind of important that you decide all this stuff before you start building a system of any kind. The only time I really would want to run 12 volts is just because it was like, convenient, like maybe an RV or something. But anything higher in voltage is going to be more efficient. You have a higher voltage, you have lower current. That means that you can get away with using smaller wires. It's just less strain on everything. So anyway, these things work great, and if you have several of them, they start to add up after a while. But like I said, it's redundant protection. You buy a 100 amp one, and that thing, you have to feed it with everything, and it's like, well, that's kind of difficult. So for me, I have like 3 or 4 arrays coming in here, and so I don't want to combine them into a combiner box, and then I'm going to need like super huge wire from that to go to like one big charge controller. So if each one goes into its own dedicated charge controller, that cuts down on me having to have, some other stuff. Now, also, one thing that's bad about that is that I don't have emergency disconnect other than circuit breakers at the beginning of every charge controller. But, there's more professional ways of doing it. But like I said, it's experimental. Anyway, I guess, I don't know that they must not make the MPP solar anymore. Or nobody seems to sell it. Let's go to images. So the green one, and this is why, like, I'm looking here, I'm like, okay, well, this is where it used to always be. But I guess this is not watts 24/7. So they were $7.49, and then, you can probably find them for $5.99 here. I don't know who this is selling it, though. I've never heard of this company, so I wouldn't recommend buying from them. The hell? It says U.S. shipping. So the one to get used to be this one, the LV6548. That's right. So the LV6548 was 6.5 kilowatts, and it could run batteryless, and the display was remountable, and all that. I'm wondering who the Shop Solar is. It's like, is this possibly a new company? I don't know. So look at this crazy, weird looking setup here. Something doesn't look right. This is like a funny picture. It looks kind of photoshopped. So this would be like a really nice professional installation. Probably somebody's RV. That's what it looks like. These are Battleborn batteries. These will set you back some money. I don't know. I can't tell what the hell this looks like. Almost looks like a damn microwave in there. Anyway, yeah, it's a nice clean setup here. So they've got the in and the out. So Like with this, you can power it separately. Anyway. This is mine right there. It's from one of my videos. That's funny. So anyway, I wish that I had gotten 2 of these, but it's too late now. I don't think you can really buy them anymore. And then also, like, you need to get the wiring harness, and then you need to get the other stuff. Look at this. There was people that had like this many of these damn things. It's just nuts. What the hell? Is this another ad for these guys? So, you know, this is how some people would hook them up, you know. I mean, that's the way you should do it, but it is what it is, right? Anyway, I've rambled on enough about this, so I'm going to have to take a look and see what other stuff there is, because it's been a while since I've taken a look. But one of the ones that was really popular was on Amazon, the Sun Gold. Let me just pull that up really quick, actually, and I will leave you guys with that. So Sun Gold, these ones here are actually they're basically the HL6548. And the parent company that makes these is, I'm trying to remember the name. Boy, I can't remember now. So the MPP Solars, they're supposed to be from Taiwan, but here's the problem with that. I don't think they make them. And so the parent company that makes most of these is in China, not Taiwan. So anyway, these are a 200 off coupon. That's pretty good. So these are really, really good. And I mean, some people have some problems with them. The problem for me is like buying something that's like $1,200-$1,300. What's really nice about these, though, they're being sold by Amazon and they're fulfilled by Amazon. So that's really, really good. They have smaller ones, like these. So you could start out small and grab 2 of these for the same price and have 2 separate ones. I don't know if these can be paralleled or what, you know, exactly, but in some cases they can't with certain ones. I have the POW MR, which is really, really cheap. See this one here? This is like the newer version. But I found a deal where the guy was selling, that looks the same as that, where the guy was selling a POW MR along with the battery. And it was $500 for everything. So basically, let me go over here. Basically, I got like that one, but it's the older one. And so my display's up in the corner. And mine's not capable of 500 volts input, which is fine because I don't like 500 volts when it comes to, mine's like more like that one. Not quite. This is a European one, I think. And another thing you got to be careful too, because you can't use 220 volt units without an auto transformer, and it's extremely dangerous. So, but the PAL MR one, it seems to be okay. It doesn't do everything that the other one does, but they don't sell that one anymore. So anyway, it was about $500 for the one that I have, and probably $600, $700 for the battery. So everything was in boxes. It was new, and the guy was a truck driver. Anyway, $500, I got all of it. I was kind of worried, you know. I was like, I don't know, maybe some of this might be bad. He lived in a really ghetto place in Phoenix, so I was a little concerned. These are 48 volt ones here, so people really like those. This is a 24 volt one, and this one here is not bad at all. It's much better than what I have. I have a 40 amp charge controller in mine, which is not enough to provide 3,000 watts of solar. So this is kind of my complaint about these particular types. If you don't have a large enough charge controller to support the inverter that's in it, what's the point? You know, because then you need to feed it with something else. But also, another thing, you never want to run these at full capacity. So if it says 3,000, don't run it at more than 1,500 or, you know, 2,000. And it'll last a lot longer probably. But anyway, these are a good deal. And these would be really good for, you know, RVs and things like that, or cabin. But anyway, I really like playing with the solar stuff, but mostly what we're doing here is just kind of experimental. And Arizona's kind of got a lot of goofy, weird rules, and like they won't allow you to mount the panels on your roof without a permit. And so as long as you're not connected to the grid directly, feeding back power, and your panels are on the ground or somewhere else, they don't really care what you're doing. Now, every county in this state is actually different. So there are some counties that don't care, and there are some counties that do care. It's just like buying a piece of land in the middle of nowhere in Arizona, and then they tell you you cannot live on it, you cannot put an RV on it, you can't do this, you can't do that. So, you can't camp on it. You know, you need a permit for off-grid solar. What? Why? You know, just silly stuff. So, sounds like something that you would hear them talking about in California, but here they are doing it here. So, it's another thing to consider if you're interested in doing solar and you think you're just going to slap some panels on your roof, you better do your research. Also, I don't like having panels on a roof, because if you have problems with the roof, the panels got to come off, and also you got to put them big huge lag bolts and all that stuff through the roof. And I have worked with these guys, and they would drill a hole in somebody's roof and miss the joist, you know, and so now the person's got a damn hole in the roof, you know. So it's very easy to have a problem with your roof because of a poor, crappy installation. So now that's why they sell the roof job along with the solar job in a lot of these places. So you want to put a new roof on your house before you put panels on it. And here, it seems like you need a new roof quite often. Anyway, there's just lots of things to think about before you get involved in that. And off-grid is not cheap. Solar is not cheap. Your return on investment, if you have a company come out and do something, is probably 7 to 8 years. And by that time, your system is starting to fall apart. Panels degrade over time. A lot of them will last a really long time, but you know, batteries and stuff like that if you've got, you know, off-grid. But just do your research before you get too crazy involved in any of this stuff like I did. We'll catch you guys later.